Hello everybody, welcome to episode 12 of the Max Cap Speedrun series. My name is JCW, and after hitting 200 mil in every stat on my level 3 skiller, I decided to set a new goal for myself, achieve a max cape in the shortest gameplay time possible. Of course, being a main account, there are no restrictions. This allows me to do whatever it takes to reach my ultimate goal, achieving max total within 35 days of playtime. I'm sure you guys recognize where I am, which is Driftnets. I have been living here the past 2 weeks, and it looks like I am finally in the final stretch of it. Right here, I'm about to hit 98 Hunter, leaving me one more level until we move on to fishing. Here it is, 98. Following 98 Hunter, about 5/6 of the way through, I end up leveling fishing one more time. If you remember, I did fishing as one of my first stats, and it was an awful mistake. So be aware that if you do a max cape normally, you will roughly be 96 fishing when finishing Hunter. I would strongly recommend not doing fishing normally before this, because since fish XP scales to level anywhere else, I'm going to be getting significantly better rates at this level than I did at level 50 to 75. Like I mentioned in the previous episode, it hurts my time to max heavily, but there's nothing I can do about it at this point. There goes 97 fishing. And finally closing the gap on Hunter, this is actually happening, boys. I'm going to finish training my Hunter so I can move on to the next skill. I genuinely cannot believe it, it's been 2 weeks. There's actually more to this game than DNs. Honestly though, it's not like I totally hated this method, but I do want something more challenging. I don't mean to sound like an elitist, but I mean straight up, just clicking these squares and hoping the fish spawn close by gets old after so many hours. I can't necessarily improve or try to be tick perfect, which is what I love to do during challenging methods. Now, you can clearly see that I'm not less than 1k XP to 99, but I am less than 21k. This will all make sense in just a few seconds. Now, you may be wondering why Jagex's fireworks went off at 20k left for me. It turns out that there's a quest I'm going to be doing in the future that will give me 20k Hunter XP. Unfortunately for me, it also gives 20k woodcutting, but I was too slow on recognizing that, so rip 6 minutes I guess. But the good news is, at least we recognize it for Hunter. Now we get to move on from underwater 15 minutes sooner than anticipated, which is awesome. So, my question for you guys. What has 8 legs and is one of the funnest words to say in the game of RuneScape? I'll give you a hint. It begins with kawamBAM. Well, that's the whole word actually. It's how I pronounce it anyway. While kawamBAMs are fish, it's not what I'm actively fishing. What I'm doing is barbarian fishing. This catches me leaping trout, salmon, and sturgeon. What is so amazing about these fish is that it gives a small strength and agility XP per catch, getting rid of the painful early agility levels that everybody dreads so much. The strength XP is pretty neat too. It gives me extra hits for more XP per hour for when I go back to combat. Now, what you are all probably wondering, why the hell am I using kawamBAMs to help me catch another fish? Is this 85 IQ or 185 IQ? Do fish make other fish more attracted to them? The answer is yes. You may recognize kawamBAMs as the food used for combo eating. Your RuneScape character can swallow a shark and a kawamBAM in 0.6 seconds, while most other foods need to wait 3 ticks before eating seconds. Not kawamBAMs though. I guess there's something about its pointy structure that makes it easy to eat with the shark or something. Anyway, because of this, kawamBAMs are a 2-tick action, which translates to me being able to 2-tick fish with it. If you look closely at my mouse, you'll notice that if I eat a kawamBAM and click the fishing spot in the same tick, I retrieve a fish 2 ticks later. Because you can't constantly eat food and there's a slight delay before the next one, I have to 3-tick every other fish. This means I had to get in the routine of 3-ticking one fish, moving to 2-tick, go back to 3-tick, back to 2-tick, and repeat. Needless to say, this method was definitely something new and unique for me, and it was a challenge. I spent like 10 minutes getting into the habit of it on my alt, where I would just bring an inventory of kawamBAMs, go through it, and then bank. I thought I had it down, so I tried doloing, and I was horrible at it. My peanut brain constantly jumbled the sequence that I was supposed to be in. For example, I would try clicking my alt after using a teak log, and then I would forget that it's time to kawamBAM, and I would teak log again, or some garbage like that. It kept happening for like 10 minutes, and I decided, alright, you know what, I'm only doing this for 20 hours, I might as well try to find some runners. It turns out many people are willing to run this for 4 mil an hour. The method was actually kind of fun when using a runner, and it wasn't nearly as complicated and I could just focus on the one account. My rates were nowhere near perfect. As you can see, I'm getting about 122k an hour in fishing at the moment. Normally, 3 ticking would be roughly 110 to 112k an hour, with near perfect rates of 3 ticking without Anchor Outfit. I would say overall, I'm getting roughly 10% faster XP an hour than I would be getting if I were doing normal 3 tick. I will say though, this definitely has potential to be a little better. Overall, it is a very hard method and I would never recommend doing this outside of a speedrun account, so I'm not going to beat myself up over it. If you're wondering why I'm not doing 2 tick swordfish, which would be roughly 130k an hour fishing, the answer is as simple as the strength and agility XP you get from this is massive for the account later on, and perhaps maybe even next episode. The XP rates you get in both agility and strength are 11k an hour, giving me roughly 200k XP all the way from 97 to 99. Including the experience I did earlier in this account, I'll easily be over level 60 agility and strength afterwards. I don't know about you guys, but never having to touch an early agility course sounds heavenly to me. One of my earliest memories in old school back in 2016 when I was starting on my main account was doing 50 agility at Varrock course. I was level 3 so I couldn't get into Canifis, and my god, it took forever. Oh yeah, so something I should mention. I was streaming this method around the time I hit 98 fishing, and somebody in my chat was explaining me the process of getting back into the cycle when falling off. I remember trying to do something and prove to explain that I knew what I was doing, but if you look at my gameplay here, I mean, you'll literally see the opposite. I think I just happened to do too many hours at granite mining. It's a completely different method to get back onto cycle when you fall off. The way fishing works is when you go off cycle, you're supposed to wait until you catch a fish and then continue on, meaning you 5 tick a fish and then you move back to the 3 tick cycle. When you're doing mining, when you fall off the 3 tick cycle, it doesn't matter, you just continue doing 3 ticks. I'll explain more in depth when I get to mining now. Here I am hitting 98 fishing. Feels pretty good to already be close to my second 99 in the video. Unfortunately, this is my only farm run this week. I wanted to wait until I finished DN to do it, and I finished later in the week than anticipated. But the good news is, again, we remembered our tinderbox and everything, and got some more passive fire making XP. Here is level 66 farming. Is it just me or did I game really hard this week? I finally remembered to record my agility XP on screen so you guys can see the XP per hour. Keep in mind that strength is the same exact experience. I'm already about 87% of the way to 99 fishing, and here I am just about to hit 62 agility. 62 agility is very big because it gets me to the second floor of Sepulcher. But Sepulcher is kind of an issue for me right now. For those who don't know what Sepulcher is, it's the must-do agility method all the way to 99. The experience rates here can get up to 50% more than what rooftops are, sometimes even more. The unique thing about Sepulcher is I like to describe the difficulty of this method as this is basically the inferno of skilling. Now hear me out, the reason I say this is because typically a skill method is just repeating the same small few mechanics thousands of times. When doing something that basic, in my opinion, it's pretty easy to catch on. But the reason why Sepulcher is so unique is there's so many different mechanics, tiles, and little things you can do to save ticks. I don't know if this is true or not, but based off of the 2 hours that I've practiced so far, memorizing some floors and paths is also really good and useful, and I have horrible memory. The reason I'm telling you guys this is because I'm probably going to need many more hours of practice before I get to it, and I wanted agility to be my next big grind. I believe I still plan for that to be the case, but I'm probably going to be slowing down on the account massively once I get all the requirements so I can practice more. I'm not going to push myself to get 110% at it, but I will be happy if I can maintain EHP rates comfortably. Anyways, enough ranting, here is finally 62 agility. I didn't expect to finish fishing by the time this video released, but I think I was just really excited to be through with the end, so I wanted to play more. Now, time for some embarrassing news. I am going to spoil something, which is I do get 99 fishing, but there's a little catch. So my friend mentioned he wanted to be in my video and offered to run me my final hour for free. So I said heck yeah, I like saving 4 mil. So what I did was I'd finished this session until I had 1 hour left of fishing, and then I logged off until the next day to finish it. Now here's the problem. This is my top tier A+ content I have for you guys. I recorded this for a solid 20 minutes without noticing since I was focused on fishing. I was recording my alts client and for whatever reason it was sized like this and frozen. And to be honest, I have no idea why it was frozen. It's quite the unfortunate situation, but at the end of the day, I'm only human. I at least quickly logged in to take the screenshot for you guys. And similar to how we finished Hunter, we're going to be finishing 99 fishing through requests later on in the series. So I stopped 10k off. 2 99s in one video? Hopefully that makes up for the failure recording session. Let's take a look at our progress this week. On the left, you'll see my stats from last week. On the right, it's my current stats. Of course, bear in mind that I'm basically 99 Hunter, fishing, and thieving. I just don't want to overcomplicate things, so for the sake of this, I'll leave them at 98 along with my total levels. Surprisingly, I gained a decent chunk of total level due to the free strength and agility XP, so that's pretty cool. Looking at an easier picture, here are my levels I've gained over the past week. Looking at an easier picture, here are the levels I've gained over the past week. Alongside it is my current EHP. Dividing my current EHP to the total EHP to max, we are now 37.8% of the way there. Anyway, now is probably the time to end. As always, TY for watching everybody. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you all next week, assuming Sepulcher doesn't mentally break me. Peace out.